So our goal right now is to get this turret to automatically point to the object it's trying to shoot, right? So the way we do this is really by using constraints. And here's going to be a bird's eye view of what constraints actually do. I got a couple different examples set up. So first off, if we want to just add constraints, all we have to do is go over to our object constraint properties. And these work just like modifiers. They work on top of our animation. And we can add a constraint, and that's going to tell it to do something. This one's going to be specifically track 2. And track 2 is essentially an easy way to have it point directly to an object. It's just very, very basic point to an object. We'll get into this. Technically, if you hover over this track 2, it says it's a legacy tracking because it was essentially replaced by damped and locked, which is going to be our next two. I still find that I use this frequently, so I don't think anyone's going to depreciate that anytime soon. Still very, very used. The lock track is going to be the same thing, but instead of happening on all 3 axes, it's going to happen on 1, right? So it's going to rotate, but not going up and down. It's going to be whatever we tell it to, whatever axis. And then damp track is supposed to be the new one that points to a given object. I find this to be, problematic in the sense that it can do this kind of spinny stuff, but if you just invert the axis, usually you can take care of that. But I still find myself using track 2 a lot. I just get better results with it. But this is always an option too. And then the last one is going to just be follow path. So the follow path constraint essentially is we can animate anything on a given path. So we just essentially extrude out a curve, and then we can animate along this. So we'll be using this later on when we get into our jet sequence. So I'm in our scene here, and we need to get this thing to animate. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to our object constraints, right down here, and we're going to add in a constraint. We're going to do locked track. So right out of the box, what we need to do is we need to tell it what to track to. So we're going to take our little picker object right here and pick the cube. And first thing that we see, okay, is it's going to kind of do not what we want it to do. So first we need to define what axis we want to lock to this, right? So if we go into our rotation, local settings right here, and we'll see that we need to rotate this on the X like this. So the first thing we want to choose is the X right here, right? So now we can see, okay, now it's starting to actually go up and down, right? But now we need to actually make sure which axis it's pointing to is going to be correct. So a lot of times I find myself just playing around with these and see which one works best. In this specific case, we're going to use -y, and that's going to point it up and down. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing to rotate. So now what we can do is just do object constraint. We'll do lock track. So both of these are going to be actually lock track. And then we're just going to pick that cube again. And then again, the rotation is going to be off, so we're going to have to figure out which one we need it to. And if we go into our rotation settings, it's going to be the green one, which is going to be our Y. So we'll lock Y. So Y is going to be the one that's going to be animated. And then we'll just rotate kind of through here and see what we get. So Z in this specific case, it's working good. And then the last thing that we need to do is just get the barrel to animate, and we'll just do a simple driver for that. So we'll just do transform objects. We're going to rotate this in Y. So we're going to right click on Y, add driver, and then we're going to do scripted expression. We're going to get rid of the variable right here, and then we'll just do frame, and then we'll just do divide by something like, we'll just try like 7, for example. And there we go. That's all animated and ready to go.